What's up, y'all? This is Rom coming back at you with yet another video. Proof that more than 20% of men are getting sex. And lately, some dudes been like taking that down to 1% or 5%, whatever. Now, let me be very clear. I'm saying getting sex. Getting sex. I got the proof for you. The proof. And it's some proof that you can prove to yourself. That's the deepness of it, in a way that you really can't refute. Now, like I said, when people talk about that 80-20, or if I talk select, non-select, alpha, beta, all that's saying is who the women prefer. Who the women prefer. But the reality is they ain't enough of the 20%ers or less, or 1%ers, which a lot of people are talking about now, which I'm going to address that 1% in a regular sit-down video next week. But, it's more than just them actually getting sex. Now, yeah, they might get preferential treatment. They might get it easier. They don't have to work as hard. But you got plenty of men who are considered beta, 80% non-select, who are getting sex. And I said proof. Now, I know somebody's going to wait for me to break out some study or something like that. Let me just say something about studies. I've worked in market research. You got to take them with a grain of salt. In fact, one of my hustles, back when I was younger, money was tight, I'd sign up for some survey or something where they paying. And let's just say, like, whatever they were talking about, it wasn't something I practiced in, but man, I'm a smart dude. I can fake out whatever. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, getting my money. I know some people hustle with that. So you can lie. People lie on surveys, especially online surveys or whatever. Shoot. Some people like make a living out of it. Like, seriously, that's a real hustle. So you got to take them with a grain of salt. But the proof I'm going to provide, you're going to provide really for yourself. Now, remember, let me make it clear. We ain't talking about who women desire. We talking about who's actually getting sex. What men who are actually getting sex. And I can prove it with 2 questions and a conclusion. 2 questions. First, answer the first 2 questions. And then the third thing, the conclusion, it's logic. It's irrefutable logic. It's nothing you can say. Now, don't try to qualify it or something like that. See, sometimes people try to qualify some shit. You don't want to do that. Legally, I got to wear glasses, and I'm up here driving without my glasses on. Oh, man. Yeah. Actually, I just technically need the glasses. I can see well without them. I just technically need them for driving. And you know how the Popo be. Popo tried to stop me from just recording a video. And let me let her go. So anyway, here's my proof. 2 questions first. 2 questions. Now, depending on how you answer the first one, the next 2, okay, I'll give you might have an argument. Might. Actually, you don't really. But I'm going to get into that. But first question. Are you a virgin? Yes or no? Now, personally, I don't count it if I don't personally count it if you've had sex with a sex worker or something like that. And don't count tricking myself, but other people do. But bottom line, are you a virgin? That's the first question. Seems simple enough, right? Are you a virgin? Now, you can be honest with yourself. You're not answering anything. Be honest with yourself. You know if you're a virgin or not. And shit, if you don't know, you got bigger issues. All right, so that's the first thing. Are you a virgin? Second thing, are you in that select category, 20%, 1%, or 5%? Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts. Are you in that top category? Or do you consider yourself in the top category? I put it like that. Whether or not you actually are, that's conjecture, but do you personally think you're in that top category? All right? So that's the second thing. If your answer is yes, okay. If your answer is no, then here's the conclusion. If you're not a virgin, which means you've had sex, and you're not in the top category, that means you're in the 80%. If you've had sex, ergo, logically, men in the 80% get sex. That's it. That's the proof. Now, if you say, unless you're going to say you're a virgin. Now, if you're a virgin, okay, you can try to have an argument, but like I said, I'm going to address that. You can try to have an argument. But if you're not a virgin and you're not 20%, obviously you've had sex. And if you're in the 80%, now, like I said, don't qualify it and say, well, she did this or that. You still had sex. If your penis went into her vagina, you had sex. Hell, if your penis went into her mouth, you've had sex. It's just that simple. And if you are not in the 20%, logically, you're in the 80%. And logically, if you're in the 80%, that means men in the 80% get sex. Boom. There you go. Now, I know some people going to try to do some mental gymnastics to try to talk about it. Say no, because I set the parameters. Sex, period. Now, whichever you had to do, maybe you had to wait 3 months. Maybe you had to take it to a fancy dinner. Maybe it's some petty sex. It's still sex. We don't qualify how you got the sex. If you gotten sex, you've gotten sex. If you're in 80%, logically, men in 80% get sex. Boom. Because I want y'all to think about that, because you got some guys out here. Well, before we get into it, okay, because you got some guys who are virgins and stuff. Okay, they haven't got sex. Okay, for the guys who are virgins, how many friends do you have? Are they all virgins? All right, if you got some friends who've had sex, would you consider them in the 20%? Because even though I'm personally against it, guys be making judgments about other men, whether or not they getting it. Let's just be real. Or whatever you consider top. Are your friends who've had sex Chads or Tyrones? Or for the people with money and status, do guys that you've known who getting sex, or at least getting a woman or had sex, not a virgin, are they do they got status or money? Boom. There you go. So even for the virgins. Look, here's the problem. When dudes say stuff like only a certain amount are getting sex, it is whack. Now, I know some people are talking about, well, this study on Tinder. First of all, let's use some common sense there. In fact, on all of these dating sites, men outnumber the women. And if you're going to have women on there, logically, if they got a biased market as far as which men they can go for, logically, they're going to go for the best. Why wouldn't they? If it's 9-1, they got 9 men, every woman got 9 men to choose from, they're going to choose the best men. Every time. If it was reversed, if it was 9-1 women, which women y'all going to choose? You going to choose some of the, you going to go for the baddies, ain't you? See, I'm going to tell you why I'm even addressing this, because my thing, man, Rom, real deal. Reality. I don't let fantasy go. And see, a lot of dudes, they got that mindset when he's saying, only 5% of men are getting women. There be some men saying that and he got kids and shit. You got kids, you've been married. I mean, seriously, you be hearing some guys, shit, they've had sex before. Now, yeah, they might have had to go through some shit for it. But, like I said, a penis, if a penis gone in a vagina, if your penis has gone in a woman's vagina, hell, or her mouth, you've had sex. It's just that simple. Look, I'm going to tell you what. And plus, I'm going to tell you, see, that's a whole big fantasy or a misconception. Because I question, and before I've questioned how many dudes actually go out. Where have you been? If you've been in the streets, you done seen it all. Because first of all, let's get back to whatever term you want to use, select, alpha, 20%, 1%, whatever. There's always something. Here's something, and I said this in a video last week, and I will maintain this. If a man is a top man, and he's a 20%, let's just use that percentage if people understand it. Alpha, whatever, we'll say 20%, or for some guys, 1%, right? Wait, hold on a second. Sorry about that. Got a call. I had to take a call. But let me get back into this. Alright, if a guy's like a top guy, who he gonna fuck? People say, like, some people say, like, somebody hit me up, like, yeah, 5% of the men fucking 99% of the women. That tells me they ain't among the top men. The top men, they gonna focus on the bad women. What they gonna, you know what? They got maybe one good time to mess with some busted woman. It ain't that many. Old women ain't fine. If you a top man, regardless, if you look good, okay, let's have people like to use Chad and Tyrone. Chad and Tyrone ain't really checking for no ugly girl or some jacked up girl. Shit, he getting a fine one. If a man got money and status, who he want on his arm? He want that trophy. He want that fine woman. They gonna limit who they gonna fuck with. They gonna limit who they gonna fuck with. In fact, their count might not be in the hundreds. See, that's another thing, but I'll get into who might have a high count. But their count might not be in the hundreds. They ain't fucking, they gonna limit it to what they want. See, when I talk about selecting non-select, that's the female selection criteria. What's the male selection criteria? Let's be real. We want the icons. We want the baddies. If you're a man and you're capable of getting the baddies, the fine women, the pretty women, the women with the killer bodies, the sexiest women, you ain't messing with some of these women out here. Most of these women out here. So, you know, that 80% or 99% can want the 5% all they want. They ain't getting none. But they still want sex though. They have no choice but to fuck with men in 80%. Most women are settling any damn way and they know it. They have no choice. In fact, a lot of them, if they can't get that top guy, they'll go for that guy who's like kind of next in line. Like that guy who might just need a few things. And even among that select and non-select thing, most men are select to somebody. Hence why I always talk about tribes. Now, one man might be in a group of 100 women. He might be select to 80 of them. One man, if he's really at the top, like 80 women. But then another guy might only be select to 5. Okay, you get with them, have sex. That's still pretty good. Think about it. Think. You know? Seriously. And let's just be real. Like I said, a lot of these women, they not icons. They not the top. They don't fulfill the male selection criteria, which is the icons, the beautiful women, the dimes, and then everybody else. They don't fulfill it. Nah, because if you look at the Chads, Tyrones, and I'm going to say Chads, Tyrones, if you want to use like that real handsome man who's tall, muscular, handsome, hunks, who do you think they're going to mess with? They ain't messing with some average woman out here. Or if he does, she has a lot of money. You know, they ain't messing with some busted woman. And then you got some of these women out here got some serious mental health issues. They ain't messing with them. But those women with mental health issues will still be having sex. See, understand something. See, you gotta understand a woman's sexual nature. One, she still want to have sex. And two, despite all this talk about hypergamy, people throw that around. Only a small amount of women can actually practice it. It's the icons, the beauty queens, the fine women, the divas. They're the only ones who can truly practice it on whatever level you want to say. On whatever level you want to say. Because true hypergamy is moving up in social class. If a woman's busted and shit, she pretty much staying where she at. The only way she moving up in social class is she get that degree and really do something to make a lot of money. That's the only way she moving up. A man ain't taking her there. And then if you talk about, even though it's incorrect to talk about like going for looks and everything, let's be real. If the woman ain't an icon, she ain't a beauty queen, she ain't fine, She can want Chad and Tyrone all she want. Or she can want that money man all she want. She gets none. She got to deal with who she can get. Women at a level, they very pragmatic. Understand that. And indeed, I mentioned something about that whole thing about body counts and stuff. But as I said, a whole lot of women, a whole lot of guys who are at that top, their body counts might not be like crazy in the hundreds or something. It might not be in the hundreds or stuff. They might have a good 30, 40, shit. And if anybody doubts that, say, well, no, they're Chad, they got 100, they got harems. Okay, let's do something else. How many Chads and Tyrones do you know personally? Like, who would qualify as a Chad and Tyrone? How many you know personally? How many high status guys do you know personally? Like, you've been around them, you know the women that they fuck. Fuck what they tell you. Guys can lie all the time. Like, you seen them, you actually witnessed the women throwing the pussy at them. How many you know personally? I couldn't even give you a count how many I've met along those lines of all races and shit. Usually they get a baddie and they good. Even the players among them. Even the players. And that's another thing too. That's almost another conversation. Just because they can get the top women, like I said, a lot of them, I've known quite a few. Like, I know this dude, he could easily get, women go crazy over him. In fact, dude in his 50s now, and women probably be like going crazy, but all he's ever dealt with was baddies. And he'd tell you, before he got married, his count was 12, and he was proud of it, because all of them were baddies. So, they don't get it like that. Now, you get some guy with some crazy count, believe it or not, it's a non-select guy. And somebody say, no, that's great. No, see, understand something. Let once again think. If the top men, think. If the top men are going to be picky, they just ain't going to fuck with all these women. Especially if they top and they got money and status. They picky as fuck. So the top men, they ain't going to just fuck random women. They ain't going to fuck them. Because even the homosexuals who's in that top category because of their sex appeal and stuff, they usually like one or two women or something. But they ain't going to have a lot. But you get some non-select dudes, and it's not all of them, of course, but you get some non-select dudes. You know, you can call them poon hounds. Sometimes you can call them scavengers. Well, two types. One, I call them poon hounds. I actually did a private webinar on that. A lot of them are non-select. Like, normally a woman wouldn't mess with them, but they just figured out, one, they don't focus on the icons. Like, I knew this dude, he had a pretty high count. Dude was married too, had a high count. All he fucked with was fat girls. He even said it to me. He said, Ron, there's a whole market out here for fat girls. You know? You get some dudes, they shit. He knew some, like, one of the biggest players I know, man, that dude didn't look like a model. He looked like a bottle. He ain't come nowhere near it. But then he'd fuck some of these, like, sub 5 women. How about that? He didn't care. So you get some poon hounds, they ain't as picky about their shit. And they also know they ain't trying to get married. Women know they ain't trying to get married. Sometimes they want to get some. That show I was reviewing with Miss Mocha Angel when it was on Insecure. The main character, Issa, she got with a couple guys who wouldn't be considered the top guy. One was just a guy who just happened to live in her building. She just wanted something. Another one was TSA babe. TSA babe, I mean, that dude, he wouldn't be considered. He was working regular job. Dude was a big man, but he just didn't give a fuck. And that's something else too. They ain't the best, but understand something with women. Just like some guys, including many guys in that 80% are non-select, has probably got with that woman who might have had an unfortunate face and a body that wasn't all that and stuff, but she sucked his dick. Now, you might not tell people about it, but that shit happens. Indeed. And then there's so many angles and shit. You know, and then you got some women out there, they just ain't as picky. There ain't no absolute that every single woman is only going for a few men. I've said that. I've said that, you know, and a lot of guys didn't get it. I said, shoot, as they get older, like guys talk about that so-called wall. Okay. As guys say it's over. They hit the wall. Okay, they ain't gonna get a modeling contract. Somebody still gonna fuck them. Shit. And I talked about the poon hounds, then there's another type. Scavengers. They don't give a fuck. Scavengers don't give a fuck. Shit. Those scavengers out there, like, get outside. Those scavengers, they don't care. That woman could be a straight 2, overweight. They don't give a fuck. They not chasing the icon. Because they know where they stand. A lot of non-select guys who still get sex, they just know, they just make their opportunities where they can. In my book, Nice Guys and Players, I call them gamesmen. And they know it. They know they ain't the number one with the woman, but they all right with it. They know the woman don't think they're handsome, but they'll go eat that woman's pussy. Oh, let's just be real with it. Sometimes some women will mess with them because those dudes will do some stuff that they can't get the top guys to do. That motherfucker say to the woman, hey, you know what, I'll lick that ass. Or I eat that pussy real good. They'll keep them on the side, just like, and tell the guy, hey, you see me in public, act like you don't know me. Let's just be real, because see, a lot of dudes don't understand sex because they ain't having it. Or a very limited amount. But you get some dudes out there, hey, and if they gotta, like, they'll be persistent, they'll hang around. Or like, say they get with some woman, they non-select to them, but you know what? The woman, the handsome men ain't even like looking at her, you know? The good-looking, sexy man ain't looking at her. And she don't qualify because of her social class. She ain't qualifying for the top men. Like, see, that's another thing too. That class thing. When you get those guys who really making money, not really making money, really making money usually because they have a professional degree, they moving up in the world and all of that, they ain't dipping below a certain level in class. They bougie as shit, and that's regardless of race. If they rich black men, rich Asian men, rich Hispanic men, and especially white men with money, especially white men with money are the pickiest motherfuckers on the planet. The pickiest. They ain't fucking a lot of women. If that woman ain't looking like supermodel of the world, if a rich white man who got himself in shape, they the pickiest motherfuckers on the planet. A woman, like, you get some women thinking they gonna get them a rich white man. It's like, unless you find a shit, give it up. A rich white man? Please. One who got money, got some power? Please. Pickiest motherfuckers on the planet. So, you know. So you got all these women, they ain't in that top category. They ain't matching that icon. They still want some D. In fact, and then you got these scavengers. Shoot. And like I said, that thing about hypergamy early, most women can't practice it, so they got to stay in their lane. So if they ugly, got some slight mental issues or something, guess who they going to fuck with? Somebody who might not be all of that. In fact, where I used to live, one of the reasons I moved, because I had a woman in my building. I don't give a fuck if she see this. I ain't calling her name. And I ain't telling y'all where I live, so she don't have a legal thing with it. She don't have a legal grounds to try to come at me, even if she see this. But if y'all doubt that, go check with lead attorney. And if he sees this, 12B6, bro. Anyway, let you know my background. Anyway, the thing is, one of the things, she had homeless motherfuckers coming in and out of there. You gonna tell me some homeless kind of dirty looking motherfucker ain't like, is it in the top 20%? Some scuzzy motherfucker. You gotta realize, you get some of these busted women out here, they fucking somebody. It's just a question of who. Shit. And nah, they ain't all 304s. They just have regular sex. But the whole point for what I was even starting with, you know, if you got these women when you got a lot of dudes out here, they ain't on the top thing. They ain't doing it. They still getting something now. Let's just be real. If you select, things are a bit easier. That's some real talk. Things are a bit easier if you select. And that's all it is. Women going to treat you better. It's going to be a bit easier. But the reality is some men are getting, many men are getting some, really a higher number of men who are non-select are getting something than the men who are just straight virgins. Because that's only really that whole, because the numbers get manipulated and everything. Because really only a smaller percentage of men just ain't getting nothing. Nothing. Smaller percentage. You know? And even when they said that thing about, 60% of men are lonely and single, that was like at a certain age. They get a little bit going, they could probably get some. And even them, you actually went through them and they took that same test I gave, asking the same question, they probably got something. Because even with the single thing, a man could be single and he could be a straight player. Technically, he's single. You know? He can be single and getting some. Maybe not the way he wants to, but he can get some here and there. A whole lot of players are technically single, like straight players. But and let me go some more into that. I was touching on it. Let me finish that up about some non-select guys having that high count. They don't give a fuck. In fact, if a motherfucker say, you know what, I ain't chasing the fine women, I'm fucking with the ugly ones. I'm fucking with the ones who are overweight. I'm fucking with the ones who might got some slight mental issues. I'm fucking with the lesser ones. I'm fucking with the ones in these poor neighborhoods. If they don't give a fuck, they probably have a high count. Because that's a major thing. That's the major thing, the male selection criteria. Now, if you select, you can get those best women. But if you're just talking about just sex, using that criteria, just sex, please, plenty of dudes getting it. You couldn't even really give a number. Don't go by some like questionable survey. And I'm going to say questionable because they question every single guy. And they be doing all that. But see, that's one thing. And then, come on now. It's you doing shit on some stuff that's, you know, a lot of it's self-reported, which you got to take with a grain of salt. A lot of it is, limited. And then like on like dating sites anyway, it's mostly men. So, I mean, that's just the thing. So, and I stand by that. It's just a matter of using some common sense. It's just, seriously, just simple common sense. You know? Simple common sense. You can't really refute that. Apparently, the guy's getting something. Now, you get some guys ain't getting nothing. Dudes, you got to work on yourself. Like I said, unless you if you got any friends, ask them if they virgins or not. And if they ain't, shoot, that proves the point. And then ask yourself, is this dude really a top 20% or 1% especially? I'm gonna tell you what. Let me say something because I'm gonna do a regular video. Because I'm gonna hit y'all some more. Give you a clue about my own background. I can talk gully or I can talk very corporate, but people saying just 1%. Dude, come on now, come on. More than 1% of men have babies or children. Even the guys who being caught up in paternity fraud. The only way a woman can even commit paternity fraud, she had to have sex with that man, which means that man had sex to even commit paternity fraud. Because if he ain't had sex with her and she have a baby, he already knows now he is stink. So dudes who are not top guys, they still getting some. Because like I said, there's not enough of the top guys, however you want to put it, to go around. And women still got that drive. And some women, they good with it. Some women are good. They know they ain't going to get a top man. They get a good guy, and they good with it. That guy's select him. But he's technically, overall, though, he probably wouldn't be, in that top 20% or top 1%. That shit is so whack. Anyway, so just think about it, all right? Do the test. Do the questions. Ask yourself that, if you consider yourself part of the non-select or 80%, and I've had a lot of guys say, well, I'm non-select. But you still got sex, though, unless you're a virgin. And like I said, even with the virgins, ask yourself, ask your friends which ones, or ask them, you got any buddies, if they generally non-select too. If you think it, because first of all, select and non-select, or 20%ers generally hang out with other 20%ers, 80%ers. Betas generally hang out with other betas. If any of them got sex, but you still a virgin, that's on you, though. So I want y'all to think about that shit. I want y'all to think about it. So, anyway, that's all I got for today, y'all. Get back with y'all. Peace.